This video requires me to have a cheat sheet to film it. Hi everyone, my name's Chloe, welcome back to my channel. Thank you for being here today. Today's video is my TBR slash wrap up, just kind of catching you guys up on where I'm at for the magical readathon. So, for anyone who doesn't know, the Magical Readathon is a readathon which is hosted by G from the Book Roast. I will link her channel and the original announcement video down below. It started last year, well actually it started many years ago, but it was a readathon that was connected to a particular book series that we're not talking about, and G has decided to kind of revamp this whole readathon so that she can still carry on with the amazingness that it is, but make it so it's not connected to any one particular book series. It has its own world, its own story, its own lore connected to it. There's so much work that has been put into this readathon. It's kind of unbelievable. I'm sure you guys all know about this by now, but if you don't, I do suggest you go and watch her videos because, like I said, it is very, very impressive. And I'm really happy that I get to join in on it now, because when it was previously running as part of that book series, I only found out about the readathon when it was like a few rounds into it, and I felt like maybe I couldn't jump in, like maybe I'd missed too much. But I managed to join this one right at the beginning, and if you guys haven't joined in yet, actually there's still plenty of time. I think you can pretty much join in at any point, but we are still very, very much at the beginning. All we've had so far is what's called the novice path. So essentially, like I said, there is a story and a world to this. It's a magical realm. You have your own character, and there's all these different places that your character can be from. There's different types of creature they can be. There's different guilds that they can be part of. You kind of build your character by fulfilling prompts with your reading. And the original readathon, which was last September, was called the novice path. So you had to kind of go on this adventure in order to gain entry to this magical school, I believe it's going to be. And yeah, for that you had to read 7 books. I did post a wrap-up video of that at the end of September, so if you want to know what I did for that, feel free to go back and watch that video. I will link that somewhere as well. But what I'm going to do today is tell you the character creation prompts that I've managed to fulfill since then, and also what I'm going to be reading for the mini readathon that's happening next week. Well, actually in 2 days time when you watch this. It's starting on the 14th. It's running for the 14th to the 20th, and that is sort of setting us up for the next full round of the readathon. So I hope that didn't sound too confusing. Like I said, watch G's video, it makes a lot more sense. But basically we did the novice path, and as part of that you could have read books that created your character, but if you didn't manage to read them during the month of September, you were also free to read them during the next however many months until the next round of the readathon. Now I think everyone suddenly realised that the next round of the readathon is supposed to be next month, and a lot of us haven't fulfilled our prompts. So what G has kindly done is created this little mini readathon to kind of give us a chance to catch up. Also, it is looking likely that the next round might not actually be next month because she is having some health issues at the minute, so we're not entirely sure when the next round will be. So this is kind of like a little fill the gap, keep you invested in it until we do get to that full month long, because we want to all be able to enjoy it. So we're all happy to wait until G is feeling more up to it. But I did have grand plans when I finished doing the September one to make sure that I read my character prompts well within the months allotted. I thought I'm going to fulfill them really easily. I'll barely even have to think about it. And I probably could just go back and fit some of the books that I've read, because you can do that. Anything that you've read during that gap can count as fulfilling one of the prompts. And I could definitely create a character, but it wouldn't be the character that I want it to be. So what I've done instead is I've gone through, picked the character that I actually want it to be, seen if I can fit some of the prompts to books that I've already read, and if not, I've added an extra one to my TBR for this little mini readathon, because there is also 2 prompts that I need to do for this little mini readathon. I'm going to stop rambling and actually just explain my character, because I think it'll make a lot more sense when I get to that point. So I'm not going to read all the different things because you don't need to know all the choices, because that's what G's video is for, but I will tell you what I chose. So the first thing is the name of my character, which I actually can't tell you. I'm going to have to pause filming this video so that I can go back and listen to a voice note, because the lovely Lisa has named my character for me. I wasn't sure. I'm not very creative when it comes to things like this, but I got some late night voice notes from Lisa the other day, and she decided to pick a character name for me, so I'm just gonna go with it because why not? So bear with me 1 second. I will be back and tell you what my character name is. So apparently my name is Etheria Silverflower. Thank you to Lisa for coming up with that name. There we go. So we have my name, Etheria Silverflower. I need to actually write that down because there is a little like character creation sheet and I need to write that down so I don't forget it. So I will do that momentarily. But the next thing that we have on here, we can actually create a picture, by the way, but I'm not good at drawing. I'll work on that. Next time I do one of these videos, I may have a picture. But the next thing we have is the guild. So the guild was decided by a bunch of decisions that you had to make along the novice path. So basically on each of these steps there was a decision that you had to make. So it was originally sort of done on Twitter, I believe. There is also a video of G going through all the choices, and there is also a printout version, because this is all stuff that you can print out that G has provided, and it's a full story with all these different choices. And it's like one of those quizzes that you got in teen magazines where depending on what choice you made, if you got like mostly A's, you were this. If you got mostly B's, you were this. Everything had a little symbol, and depending on what symbol you got the most of, depending on which guild you were. So I am in the Guild of the Arcane. So I don't think I actually have that printed out, so bear with me one second while I just give you a little bit more information about what the Guild of the Arcane is. So it's the House of the Arcane, actually, and it says, House of the Arcane focus on the science of magic. Their strength lies in the clear-cut logic and research-driven spells. Their interests encompass the ancient arts of alchemy, transmutation, inscription, and artificery. Members are known to be inquisitive, inventive, and extremely driven. As a member, you'll gain entrance to the Great Arcane Laboratory, where you will be able to access the most scientific tools which can be used to push the boundaries of your own research. You will be mentored by the most accomplished minds in their respective fields. You will be taught the most difficult and rarest of runes, glyphs, transmutation sequences, and artificery blueprints. Members of this guild can easily say they are never bored. Some master artificery to an extent where they build themselves a familiar. This is fairly rare, but it's a challenge most gladly take on. Once a year, the House of the Arcane gather to block themselves away from the rest of the world for a month of uninterrupted debate and partying amongst their fellow great minds. Each member presents their most interesting project, and the winner gets added to the honour list. This opens many doors for future opportunities, from apprenticeships to secret meetings with the most influential sorcerers in Eldia. So, I'm in the Guild of the Arcane, which, to be honest, I think I'm reading that and I'm like, yeah, that's pretty fitting. I understand why I've been chosen into that guild. You didn't have to read any particular books for that. It was just based on your choices. The next things are the ones that did actually have prompts. So these are the ones that I was supposed to read throughout the last however many months. So for background, you can be a wildling or you can be urban. So it's just about sort of where you're from, whether you're from the countryside or you're from a city. Now I chose to be urban, which means the prompt was to read a book set in a city or a town. I've read many books. I'm not even going to pick one in particular for this, to be honest, because I've read many books that are set in a city or a town. Any contemporary pretty much that I've read will have been set in a city or a town. I don't tend to read things that are set in the countryside. We then have province, so there are different areas that you could be from, and the one that kind of attracted me was called Dark Meadow. So I do have this one printed out here, and I'll give you a little bit more of a rundown of this. It says harsh cold winds, snowy thunderstorms, and shadow charged air. These are just a few of the challenges in the lands of Dark Meadow. Due to this hostile environment, a lot of the continent remains unexplored. However, there are tales about hard-shelled demons that roam the lands, devouring anyone foolhardy enough to approach them. The terrain is difficult even for those native to Dark Meadow, which is why the cities of Dark Meadow are underground, sheltered inside the mountains. Overnight stays on the surface are not advised. Only the scale monoliths are able to explore the surface fully. Alarmingly, they do not share their findings of these parts with others. It is known, however, that Dark Meadow is home to dragons. The Underworld, a complex maze of grand and underground cities in crystal caves and tunnels, is mostly inhabited by Ilterians, who established and maintain the Great Underworld Library. Access to this great trove of knowledge is closely guarded, making it a very coveted privilege for most scholars. Those few fortunate to receive such grace describe the site as breathtaking, marvellous, and glimmering with true light, a rare pure silver light magic only found on Dark Meadow. Dwarves are among the most frequent visitors. Some have elected to stay forever, charmed by the glorious vastness of the library and tranquil hospitality of Ilterians. So, that sounds pretty cool to me. It's like a secret underworld library. What is not to love about that? I instantly had to choose this one. And basically my prompt, if I can find it, you're just going to hear me shuffling a lot of papers in this video. So the prompt to be from Dark Meadow. Dark Meadow is the dark academia type world. So you had to read a dark academia. Now I haven't read a lot of dark academia. I would like to read more. If you have any recommendations, please leave them down below in the comments. But there is one that I haven't read yet. So yes, this is the prompt that's going to be added onto my TBR for next week. And this book recently came out as a traditionally published book. It's been out as a self-pubbed since last year, and it's a little bit of an online sensation, and I want to see what all the fuss is about. So For this prompt, I will be reading The Atlas 6 by Oliver Blake. Is it Oliver? Is that how you say it? It's just, I keep wanting to say Olivia, but I'm assuming it's Oliver. So, as per usual with me, I do not know the full synopsis. I know that it is about, what it says on the back actually, 6 extraordinary magicians, 5 chances to win, 1 secret society. I know there is a secret society. I know the magic in this involves science, I think. So I think that's actually quite fitting for my character. I know there are 6 people sort of competing, but only 5 of them can actually be taken on into whatever the secret society type thing is, as far as I know. I'm intrigued. It is apparently a TikTok sensation because we all love those stickers. Aren't stickers on there? This is a regular edition. I did pre-order this before they announced the Waterstones one, and then I couldn't cancel it because it was part of a bigger order where it was like triple points, and I needed this to take it over the amount to get triple points. So I kept this one, not knowing that ugly sticker was going to be on there. And then I was thinking of like trying to exchange it for the Waterstones one, but then I really hate the sprayed edges on the Waterstones one. I saw it in person and it's just way too yellow. So I'm just ended up with this one, but then I also probably have it coming from a subscription box soon as well. So I'm going to have 2 copies of this, so I really hope I like it. But yeah, I will be reading The Atlas 6 for the prompt that gets me into Dark Meadow, or makes me come from Dark Meadow, I suppose. So we know my name, we know my guild, we know my background, and we know my province. What we don't know is my heritage, which is basically what type of creature I am. So you may have heard mention in that last thing that a lot of the creatures in Dark Meadow are called Elterians, and that is what I decided to go with because they sound pretty cool. It says, Elterians are the most secretive of the races. They reside in the great underworld library of Dark Meadow, and you will scarcely meet an Elterian elsewhere. Elterians are trained from a very young age to be quick of both wit and body. Over the centuries, the main objective of Elterians has been to collect and learn from all written texts, especially tomes long lost to the dark forces. Those attending the academy can have a hard time adjusting to its different pace and ways of living. Unique features: very pale, check, have red glowing eyes and fangs. I don't have those in real life, but my character does. Elterians are the only people with an innate ability to shapeshift, particularly to crow form. Although somewhat abandoned, some clans still carry the teachings of blood magic. Elterians are repulsed by blood and flesh and do not eat creatures unless unavoidable. So basically, I think G described it as vegan vampires. Sounds pretty cool to me. Lisa in her late night voice notes with the other day was asking me what I shapeshift into because I think she has gone for a creature other than a crow. I haven't decided. I am unknown. I think I've not quite come into my shape-shifting ability yet. But to become an Elterian, what I had to do was read a book with a crow on the cover or title, or read a book with a mostly red cover. So I don't have many books with crows on the cover. I think Nevernight has a bird on there. I'm not sure if it is a crow. I think it is. But I read that in August, which was just before the readathon started. So what I had to do instead was go through and see if I've read any red books, and luckily I have, because I did not want to have to add another book to my TBR for next week. So what I picked instead was Jade War by Fonda Lee. This is the 2nd book in the Greenbone saga. I read it in January. It's definitely a red cover. It's got red on the sprayed edge as well. So this is my book that made me an Elterian. I think the red is supposed to be the blood. There we go. All the creepy vibes going on today. So that is all the prompts that I should have been working on throughout the last few months. Now the only prompts that we have left are the 2 that are for next week's readathon. So for next week's readathon, we are picking our conduit and our guild legacy. So basically magical items and abilities and things that we get as part of our character and the guild that we are in. So there are many different conduits you can pick. There are ones that are specific to guilds, and then there are general ones as well. I have chosen one that is specific to my guild. So a conduit is basically a way to kind of channel the magic of the world, and for the House of the Arcane you can pick either an orb or a crystal, and I've decided to go with an orb, partly because I just like the idea of having a magical glowing orb, partly because it is easier for me to fulfill a prompt. And the prompt for that is to read a book with sun on the cover or title. So I haven't actually picked what I'm reading for this. I have some options, but I'm going to kind of see how I feel during the week, especially because I have to read an extra book in order to do the Dark Academia prompt. I do want to try and finish all of these during the week. G has said that you can, sort of, if you don't finish it during the week, you can carry on reading it, it's not a problem. But I would like to try and finish it during the week, partly because I still need to finish my regular March TBR as well, which I'll be doing the week after. So I have picked 3 options. 2 will be new reads, 1 is a reread, and the reread is the one that will be a really quick read if I did pick that one. So I'm probably going to leave this one till the end of the week and see how much time I've got left, and then just go from there. But I'll tell you what all 3 options are just in case. So the first 2 options are contemporaries that have just been sat on my shelves for a little while, some longer than others. The first one being I'll Give You the Sun by Jandy Nelson. This is a YA contemporary that is about twins, I believe. I don't know much else. I have read The Sky is Everywhere by this author before, and I remember enjoying that, and I'd heard people say that this one was better, so I bought it a while ago. Actually, it may have been a gift, I can't even remember, but I have it and I just haven't got around to reading it. Definitely has sun in the title. This one is the one that I will only read if I know I'm definitely gonna have time to read it though, because it is a little bit chunky even though it is a YA contemporary. So my sort of medium intensity read is Rise to the Sun by Leah Johnson. This one came out last year. I've read Leah Johnson's other book, which was You Should See Me in a Crown. I can't think of the name then, but I really enjoyed that one. This one is set at a music festival. It is a sapphic story, I believe, and I don't know why I didn't read this at the time. I think I got it, never got around to it, and then I wanted to read it in summer, so I kind of didn't end up reading it afterwards. I still kind of want to read it in summer, but if I have to read it for this, that is absolutely fine. It is a lot shorter, so if I've got enough time to fit an actual book in but not enough time to read I'll Give You the Sun, then I'll probably read this one instead. And then my last option is a bit strange because when you see the size of it, it's chunky, so you might think, why would you pick that one as your quickest read? Because like, look at the size of it. But it is a graphic novel. It's On a Sunbeam by Tilly Walden. I read this one last year and I really enjoyed it, and I'd happily reread it, so why not reread it for this? If I don't have too much time, I can read this one in a day. I read it in a day last time. Like I said, it's a reread and it's a graphic novel. Although it's chunky, a lot of the pages are sort of like full illustrations, so it's a very quick read. And yeah, I really enjoyed this one, so why not reread it? So that is my conduit. Now we just have to pick my guild legacy. So your guild legacy is kind of little extras that you get as part of your guild. I think it actually says in here, it's tradition for guilds to teach a skill, ability or pact to every new recruit. The process of this is usually a secret passed down through the ranks within the guilds for centuries. This knowledge is highly coveted and valued. If mastered and maintained, it can aid scholars greatly throughout their lives in both personal matters and employment. So for this, I have got 5 options, I believe. So for the House of the Arcane members are offered an artifact enchanted and enhanced by the Paragon members of the guild. This item is incredibly powerful, offering highly concentrated benefits. The craftsmanship of these is remarkable, and thus the artifacts do not suffer from wear or expiration common with such objects. This is a gift that lasts a lifetime, yours to be exact, as it is enchanted to fade once your life force does. So I'm not going to go through every one of these, but there is the Locket of the Clear Mind, an animated broom, a monocle of vigilance, a ring of protection, and a pocket dimension. I've decided to go with the pocket dimension. So that says it summons an interdimensional space pocket where possessions can be stored indefinitely. The pocket can be called to you from anywhere in the world unless there are spells and technology in place to inhibit conjuration. Beloved by scholars who prefer to have access to their personal libraries at all times. That's why I chose it. I just like the idea of having this little like library that I can carry around whenever I want it. It sounds fantastic. So there is also a prompt involved with that one as well. And very fitting for having an entire library in a small device, I need to read an ebook. So what I'm going to do is I have my iPad here, which doubles up as my Kindle, and I am going to see what ebooks I have on my Kindle at the minute. I have a lot of arcs on here, and actually I think I know what I'm going to pick because there is one particular arc that keeps staring at me, but I might change it. Again, this is one that is subject to change depending on what I'm in the mood to pick up. I think my plan is to start the week with the Atlas 6 and then kind of go from there, because the other 2 prompts I have more options for, so I can pick and choose depending on what fits my reading for the week. So I'm literally looking at my Kindle and the arcs and going, oh, I forgot I had that one. Like I got approved for an arc of a sequel that I haven't even read the first one for. Is anyone really surprised? So I'm just going to tell you which ones are options to read. So we've got Delilah Green Doesn't Care, which is definitely an option. I'm very excited to read that one. I do actually now own it physically though, so I may just end up reading it physically. So maybe not the ebook. I also have The Girl Who Fell Beneath the Sea. I got an arc of that. I do think I'm going to have a copy of that coming soon though, so again, I might want to read the physical copy when it comes. Got some other ones, but they're a little bit long. I've got a book called Something Fabulous by Alexis Hall, which I've read 2 other Alexis Hall books now and really enjoyed them, and this is like a Regency era romance, I think, so maybe that could be a good shout. I have Silkfire to read, which there is a buddy read going on Rose Patreon, so that could be an option as well. And then I have some really anticipated releases for the year. So I have Yerba Buena by Nina LaCour, I have An Arrow to the Moon by Emily X. Pan, and I have Cherish Farah by Bethany C. Morrow, which I think is actually the one that I'm really intrigued by at the minute. I keep seeing like the odd thing about it on social media and going, oh, actually I really want to read that book. So I'm leaning towards Cherish Farah. It is a contemporary, I think it's described as having like Get Out vibes to it. I'm excited for it. I've not read anything by that author before, but I've heard good things, so potentially that one, but we will see, because like I said, I've got quite a few anticipated releases that I have arcs of, but Cherish Farah has actually already come out, so that might be a good choice to read. Anyway, I'll be reading some type of ebook for that prompt, and that is actually everything that I need to read next week. So it's going to be an ebook, it's going to be Atlas 6, and it's going to be some type of book with sun in the title or on the cover. Now, I don't think that's too much to read. I love how I'm just holding up the iPad like this is the size of a book. Obviously there will be a book on there, but yeah, I don't think it's too much to read. We'll see how I get on. But yeah, that is an introduction to my character for Magical Readathon. Like I said, links down below for all the information that you would need if you would like to join in. I'm very excited for this. It seems like a fun little roleplay type readathon, and yeah, I'm happy to be taking part. Let me know if you guys are participating, what your characters are, where you're from, what your names are, all of those things. Please like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff down below, and I will see you next time with a new video. Bye.